My parents didn't really want me, and I never begged to be born. According to my mother, she was naive and impressionable, enamored with a man who was unfaithful. She soon discovered that she was expecting a child. Rachel, that baby was me, the blunder. My mother tried to get rid of me, but when her grandparents found out, they intervened. Since it was uncommon for parents to raise their children alone back then, my parents were married, and 11 months later, I was born, kicking and screaming. My father has never forgotten how I destroyed his life. He would always say, "There goes my youth," as he looked at me. I wasn't a daughter to him. Rather, I was a burden that prevented him from living the life he believed he was entitled to. It was only the 4 of us living in that little house for 12 years. I stayed undercover, attempting not to irritate Dad, while Mom scrubbed and cooked as if her life depended on it. When Dad would get home from work, his scowl would only deepen upon seeing me. Then came the birth of my younger sister Olivia, the kid that was truly desired and a miracle. I was further relegated to the background after that. Rachel, watch your sister. Rachel, be quiet, Olivia's sleeping. Rachel, why can't you be more like Olivia? Olivia was constantly at the center. I wore second-hand clothes, but she got new clothes. I got reprimanded, and she received praise. I learned to live with disappointment, and she found love. I was handling most household chores by the time I was 10 years old, including dusting shelves, mopping floors, and cleaning toilets. Nobody thanked me, but that was only to be expected. Cooking, on the other hand, was something I enjoyed doing. There was something magical about combining ingredients to create flavors. I still recall my first attempt at making my homemade lasagna for a get-together with family. Aunt Kelly's eyes brightened as she took a bite. "Cheryl, this is very amazing. When did you start to cook so well?" Mom just grinned and accepted the kudos, drinking it all in. Like usual, I stood in the corner invisible. Trying to get my voice heard, I responded, "Actually, I made it." They chuckled as if I'd cracked a joke. Still basking in the praise, Mom hurriedly added, "Rachel likes to help in the kitchen sometimes." "Isn't that right, dear?" Since I knew it wouldn't matter, I shut my mouth. Still, nobody ever took me seriously. Growing up, the kitchen became my haven. As Olivia received all the praise and presents, cooking was my solace. I could cook a mean pot roast by the time I graduated from high school, so even Dad couldn't complain. "Not bad," he stuffed his face and groaned, and it was tremendous praise from him. But I had higher aspirations for cooking than just providing for my family's needs. Every night, I would see myself running my own restaurant with content patrons taking in my food. I finally lost control one evening over supper. "I want to open a restaurant someday," I said without thinking. There was an intense hush for a while. Olivia laughed then, "You." "A dining establishment." Mom appeared anxious, as if I had recently mentioned my desire to become an astronaut. Dad didn't even lift his plate to look at anything. Restaurants are always failing. "In a month, you'd be bankrupt," he remarked. "But I can cook well. My meal is enjoyed by all," I objected. Dad sneered, "Everyone likes free food." "That doesn't mean they'd pay for it." Olivia added in, her voice sickly sweet. "Rachel, perhaps you could work at McDonald's. It's said that they hire constantly." I was determined to attend the greatest culinary school I could find when it came time for me to go to college. I was shocked when Dad said he would pay for it. "This is your inheritance," he sternly remarked. "Expect nothing more than this. Olivia will get the savings and the house." I should have been upset, but I was too thrilled to be concerned about culinary school. This was my opportunity to set myself apart, gain knowledge from actual cooks, and improve at the thing I loved. Baking, sautéing, and chopping nonstop during college. I felt like I belonged for the first time in my life. My teachers commended my inventiveness, and my pupils enjoyed my cooking. But after graduation, reality set in. I had to return home as I couldn't afford a place of my own. There was a big difference between my family's coldness and my lively life at college. "So you're a chef now, huh?" During dinner, Olivia grinned. "Does that mean you'll be doing all the cooking from now on?" Before I could respond, Mom interrupted. "What a fantastic idea. You should concentrate on your studies, sweetie. Rachel can cook." I was the family maid again in an instant. Only this time I had a culinary degree gathering dust on my shelf. I managed to get a job as an assistant chef at a local restaurant. The pay wasn't great, but it was a start. Every night I came home completely exhausted, only to face piles of dishes and laundry. "This is your rent," Mom would say, handing me a list of chores. "You're not a kid anymore. You need to help out." But I didn't let it get to me. Every free moment, I was planning, dreaming, and hoping. I knew that one day I'd have my own restaurant. And when that day came, I'd show them all what I could really do. 3 long years passed, each day feeling the same. I cooked, I cleaned, I worked hard at the restaurant, and I watched as Olivia got everything I had always wanted. The day Olivia started high school, Dad came home with a huge grin on his face. "Olivia, honey, come see what I got you," he called out. We all went outside, and sitting in the driveway like a shiny slap in the face was a brand new car. "A car? But I don't even know how to drive yet," Olivia said, eyes wide with surprise. Dad laughed and tossed her the keys. "You will soon enough. My girl deserves the best from the start." I bit my tongue so hard I could taste blood. When I turned 17, I got a second-hand bike, and that was only because I needed it to get to my part-time job. And it didn't stop there. Every week, there was something new for Olivia. The latest iPhone, a MacBook Pro, designer clothes. They even renovated her bedroom, turning it into something that looked like a luxury hotel room. Meanwhile, I was still in my old room with the same faded wallpaper and the same squeaky bed I'd had since I was 12. At least the spiders kept me company, right? I started thinking about moving out. Maybe I could find a roommate and share the rent on a tiny apartment. Anything would be better than this constant reminder of how little I mattered. But then Christmas came around. I had been saving up, determined to get everyone nice gifts for once, to show them I wasn't the failure they thought I was. I ended up buying lottery tickets for everyone, not the cheap scratch-offs, but tickets for the big jackpot. Christmas morning came, and I handed out the envelopes, trying not to look too eager. Mom opened hers first, and her face dropped. "Oh, lottery tickets," she said. Dad snorted. "What is this? A gas station gift." Olivia didn't even bother opening hers. She just rolled her eyes. "Gee, thanks, Rachel. Really thoughtful." Mom tried to sound nice, but her voice was dripping with fake sweetness. "I guess since Rachel didn't really get us anything, she won't be expecting any gifts either." "That seems fair, doesn't it?" Mom said, her voice cold. I felt a lump in my throat. Without saying a word, I snatched the lottery tickets from Dad's hand. "You know what? I'll take them. Merry bloody Christmas." I stormed out, ignoring their shocked faces. Who cared about their family dinner anyway? I texted my coworker, Lauren. "Hey, you still at the restaurant? Mind some company?" An hour later, I was sitting at the bar of the closed restaurant, sipping cheap champagne with Lauren. As the night went on, we swapped stories about horrible families and crushed dreams. It wasn't exactly a warm, cozy Christmas, but at least I didn't feel so alone. A few days later, I was at work, same as usual. During my break, I checked my phone and saw a missed call from an unknown number. Probably just another scam, I muttered, tossing the phone aside. But then it rang again, same number. Curiosity got the better of me, and I answered. "Hello, is this Rachel Jackson?" A cheery voice asked. "Yeah, who's this?" "This is Kelly from the State Lottery Commission. I'm calling to inform you that you're holding a winning ticket." I almost dropped the phone. "What? Are you serious?" "Absolutely. One of your tickets matched all the numbers in the Christmas drawing. After taxes, your winnings come to $900,000. The world spun around me. In a daze, I headed home, my mind racing. This was my chance to finally open my own restaurant, to prove to everyone what I could do. I burst through the front door, unable to contain my excitement. "You won't believe what happened." I blurted out. They were all sitting at the kitchen table, staring at me like I had grown a second head. I won the lottery. One of the tickets, the one I was going to give Mom, it won $900,000 after taxes. For a moment, there was stunned silence. Then Olivia's shrill voice broke the quiet. "That money belongs to us," she screeched. "You bought those tickets as gifts for Mom and Dad. Anything that belongs to them belongs to me." It felt like a slap in the face. "No, they gave the tickets back to me." "They're mine," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. Mom and Dad exchanged a glance. Then Dad spoke slowly. "Rachel, be reasonable. You live under our roof. You owe us. Now hand over that ticket, and we'll take care of everything." I stepped back, my hand instinctively going to my pocket where the lottery ticket was. "No," I said, surprising myself with how steady my voice was. "This is my ticket, my win. I'm going to use it to open my own restaurant." Dad's face turned bright red. "Now you listen here, young lady. No, you listen." I shouted, all the frustration from years of being treated like I didn't matter spilling out. I spent my whole life being treated like I'm less than everyone else in this family. Well, not anymore. This is my chance, and I'm taking it. "If that's how you feel," Mom said coldly, "then you can get out of this house now." I looked at them, these people who were supposed to love me no matter what, and in that moment, I saw them clearly for the first time. "Fine." I whispered, "I'm gone." I stormed upstairs, packed a few clothes and essentials into a bag, and walked out. They watched me leave, probably thinking I'd be back in a couple of days begging to return. But they couldn't have been more wrong. My first stop was the lottery office to claim my winnings. Then I headed straight to a real estate agent. "I need an apartment," I told the surprised agent, "something available immediately." By that evening, I was sitting in my very own place. It wasn't much, just a small one-bedroom in a decent neighborhood, but it was mine, all mine. As I sat on the floor, I hadn't had time to buy furniture yet. Eating takeout and scrolling through restaurant equipment catalogs on my phone, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Hope. First things first, I needed a solid business plan. I spent weeks glued to my laptop, researching, crunching numbers, and planning every single detail. After what seemed like endless revisions, I finally had a plan I was proud of. Next step, finding the perfect location. I searched the city for the right spot, and eventually, I found it. A small rundown place that had been vacant for years. The landlord almost laughed when I told him I wanted to turn it into a restaurant. "Good luck with that, sweetheart," he said with a chuckle, handing me the keys. The next 4 months were a blur of hard work. I hired contractors, chose every fixture, and personally scrubbed every inch of the place. It was tough, back-breaking work, but each blister and bruise felt like a badge of honor. Finally, opening day arrived. I stood in the kitchen, my kitchen, surrounded by the staff I had personally hired and trained. When the first order came in, a rush of excitement surged through me. "Let's do this," I said, tying on my apron. The first few months were a blur. I worked 20-hour days cooking, managing, and doing whatever needed to be done. Slowly but surely, word started to spread. People loved my food, not just for the taste, but for the care and creativity I put into every dish. I introduced a loyalty program for regular customers, offering them special discounts and first dibs on new menu items. It was a hit, and soon I had a core group of regulars who came in so often they felt like family. But I didn't stop there. I started a delivery service, partnering with local couriers to bring my food straight to people's homes. It was a risk at first. Keeping the quality high was tricky, but it paid off. Social media also became my best tool. I posted daily specials, behind-the-scenes videos from the kitchen, and talked with customers online. My follower count grew, and so did my customer base. 3 years in, I was finally turning a profit. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was something. I even started looking for a second location. Opening the second restaurant was easier in some ways. I knew what I was doing this time, but harder in others. I couldn't be in 3 places at once, so I had to learn how to trust my staff and delegate responsibilities. We made it work though, and 4 years after that, I opened my 3rd location. Before I knew it, I was the proud owner of a successful restaurant chain. Me, Rachel Jackson, the girl who was never supposed to amount to anything. I won't lie, it wasn't easy. There were nights I cried myself to sleep wondering if I'd taken on too much, days when I wanted to quit and give up. But every time I walked into one of my restaurants, saw happy customers, and smelled the amazing food, I knew it was all worth it. One Saturday, I was in my office going over the finances for my newest restaurant when my phone rang. I glanced at the screen and froze. It was a number I hadn't seen in years, home. For a moment, I thought about letting it go to voicemail, but curiosity got the best of me. I answered cautiously, "Hello." "Rachel, it's Mom." Her voice was hesitant. "Look, I know we haven't been on the best terms, but we need your help. It's about Olivia." Of course, it was about Olivia. It always was. "What about her?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. Dad's voice came on the line. "She's in trouble, Rachel. She lost her job. They're accusing her of theft, and now no one will hire her. We were hoping you might have a position for her at one of your restaurants." I almost laughed. After everything they put me through, now they had the nerve to ask for a favor. But then I thought about Olivia. Despite everything, she was still my sister. "Let me talk to her," I said, and Olivia came on the line. Her voice was small and scared. "Rachel, I'm sorry for everything. I really need help." I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. "Okay," I said finally, "I'll give you a job, but listen, there's no special treatment. If you mess up, you're out. Got it?" "Yes, thank you, Olivia said, her voice full of relief. The next morning, Olivia showed up right on time. She looked nervous but determined. I started her off with some basic administrative tasks, slowly increasing her responsibilities over time. To my surprise, she took the job seriously. She paid attention during training, asked good questions, and never complained about the work. One night, as we were closing up, Olivia broke down. "I need to tell you the truth," she sobbed. "I didn't steal anything from my last job. My boss, he tried to force himself on me. When I said no, he fired me and spread rumors that I was a thief. I felt a surge of anger. Why didn't you report him? Who would believe me over him?" Olivia wiped her eyes. I was so scared, Rachel. I didn't know what to do. "I believe you," I said, pulling her into a hug. "And I'm going to help you, okay? We'll figure this out together." Over the next few weeks, I focused on teaching Olivia everything I knew about running the restaurant. She soaked up the information like a sponge, eager to learn and prove herself. As I watched her confidently handle a rush of customers one day, I felt both proud and uneasy. Olivia was turning out to be a quick learner and a hard worker, but a little voice in the back of my mind warned me not to let my guard down completely. At first, everything seemed perfect. Olivia threw herself into the job with more enthusiasm than I'd ever seen from her before. She was always the first to arrive and the last to leave, taking on extra shifts and volunteering for the toughest tasks. But then I started hearing whispers. At first, I brushed them off as typical workplace gossip, but the rumors kept growing louder. One day, Paul, my head chef, pulled me aside. "I think you need to know something," he said. "Your sister, she's been saying things, stirring up trouble." A chill ran down my spine. "What kind of things?" I asked. Paul looked uncomfortable. "She's been telling people they're underpaid, saying you're keeping all the profits for yourself. She's even suggested they go on strike." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "That's ridiculous. You all know how tight our margins are." I've always been open about the finances. "We know, boss," Paul reassured me. None of us believe it, but there's more. He went on to tell me that Olivia had been claiming the restaurant rightfully belonged to her, saying I had somehow cheated her out of her share of the family money. It felt like a punch in the gut. After everything we'd been through, after I gave her a second chance, this is how she repaid me. That evening, I confronted Olivia, my hands shaking with anger and disappointment. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" I demanded. Olivia's face was blank, acting innocent. "What are you talking about, sis?" I told her everything I'd heard. To my shock, she just shrugged. "Oh, that," she said casually. "I was just testing the staff's loyalty, making sure they wouldn't turn on you. Looks like they passed with flying colors." I wanted to believe her, really I did. But something in her eyes, a cold and calculating glint, made me hesitate. Before I could say more, there was a frantic knock on my office door. Melissa, my assistant manager, came in looking pale and worried. "Rachel, we've got a problem," she said. "There's a big shortage in the cash register. Over $10,000 is missing. We spend hours going over the books, checking and rechecking everything. There was no mistake. A significant amount of money was gone. Only 4 people had access to the register: Melissa, Paul, and Olivia. I had known Melissa and Paul for years. They'd been with me from the start, through all the highs and lows. I trusted them completely. As if reading my thoughts, Olivia came up to me and whispered, "I've noticed Melissa staying late a lot recently. And she did just buy that fancy new car." Watching Olivia walk away, I knew I had a big decision to make. I couldn't ignore this. There was too much at risk: my business, my reputation, and the livelihoods of my loyal employees. Late one night, after everyone had left, I installed hidden cameras around the cash registers. It felt wrong, like I was betraying my staff's trust, but I didn't have a choice. I stared at the TV for days on end, my eyes burning from watching hours of dull film. And then I saw it the 5th night. Swiftly and covertly, Olivia unlocked the cash register. She quickly reached in and took money out of her pockets. My heart fell. I phoned the police because I couldn't bring myself to approach her. Olivia was wrapping up her shift the following day when 3 officers entered. Her shocked, then angry, expression said it all. She began flailing about, smashing dishes into the floor and toppling tables. "This money is mine to keep. I ought to be wealthy, not you." She cried, "You stole my life," as the cops escorted her out of her car. There was only an emptiness where my love for her had once been, no sadness, no remorse. My parents barged into the restaurant the following day. Mom was in tears, and Dad's face was flushed with fury. "How dare you?" Dad gave a yell. "Even your own sister. Now drop the charges." I refused to back down. Not at all. She embezzled from me. The consequences must be faced by her. I took out my phone and played the video of Olivia robbing. "Observe," I murmured. "This is what Olivia, your darling, did. She is a pilferer." Their cheeks turned pale as they watched the film, but instead of showing understanding, their emotions grew stern. "You kind of set her up," Mom said. "You've always been jealous of her." I was hearing things that I couldn't believe. "Are you jealous? Are you joking with me? You did not give me anything and then wanted me to repay you." "I'm done now, though. Olivia now has to live with the decisions she made." I remained firm despite their tirades and entreaties, which alternated between threats and cries. When I eventually said, "Get out, leave my life and my restaurant immediately. I'm going to call the cops if you don't go right away," Dad spit out before they went. "Rachel, you'll regret this. Take note of what I say." It was an awful trial. Olivia's moving testimony on the stand almost caused me to question my own abilities. But then her former boss showed up as a surprise witness. In his testimony, he described Olivia's persistent pursuit of him and her threat to file a sexual harassment lawsuit against him when he turned her down. He also described how, in retribution, she had taken money from the business. Ultimately, the jury returned a guilty verdict. She shot me one last glance as they dragged her away. Her eyes were filled with icy anger rather than regret. Since that day, I haven't spoken to my family. I occasionally question my decision late at night. I know I did, though, when I look at what I've created and the life I've chosen for myself. I feel at ease as I watch my crew in the kitchen of my newest restaurant get ready for the dinner rush. My family is now this. This is where I live, and no one can take that away from me. Not Olivia, not my parents, nor anybody.